but I think it turned out absolutely beautiful, and I hope that you like it too. Please do. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now I'm starting off the video here with the background already done because I did film it, and you can see I'll play it over here somewhere, a little clip of it of me doing the background. It's nothing too fancy, so I didn't talk through it because I had to wait for it to dry as well. I did think about using the heat gun, but then if I did that I would have melted the glue with the masking tape. Now I have got it on a board, and then I had it propped up as well just on these two inks, just to keep the board more upright so the water would run down of a fashion. Anyway, you'll see it. You'll see it in that little time-lapse bit. Now this illustration is by Mystic Art Mirrors. I will say that this is expensive for one illustration. I think it was like £5 something, and it's advertised as a 6-pack, and then it's stupid me not even reading the description because it's this illustration but in different so there's line art, and then there's more grayscale like this, and there's lighter grayscale and lighter line art and darker, and that's what makes the 6 illustrations that you're getting for the £5 or £5 something it was. So yeah, I think the other pack, was it 5, was a lot better value for money than this one. But in saying that, I do really like it. I've actually printed it out on watercolour paper for this one, and I've printed it out again on tone tan paper that I'm going to use pencils on. No idea what I'll do for the background on that one, but I'm planning on colouring that one in my own time. So yeah, the paints that I'm using are new to me paints. This is the first time that I've used them, so I swatched them last night, but this is the first time that I'm actually using them. It's the Gansai Tambi ones. I'll link them in the description. The new colours apparently, and they are some really unusual shades. It's not picking up on camera very well, but they're like pink mauve shades. There's some nice, well, there's them 2 skin tones there that I might attempt to do on this, and a beige grey that I want to use for the hat. I want to keep all the colours in this palette, but I don't want to use loads of different colours, if that makes sense. I want the colours to go together. I do struggle picking colours that go together. Let me just show you this illustration. Should have had it ready. Well, this is from the pack that I was just talking about. Now, I didn't really struggle picking the colours for this one because I know the colours of Halloween colours that you'd go for, so I didn't struggle. Like the greens, oranges, reds, and then I just popped a little bit of purple in there, and then a warm grey for the bat, and then a cool grey for her dress. But I think it works. It works as a whole picture. And normally when I do something like this, I don't think it works as well as this one does. Maybe it's because it's a Halloween picture and it's a really adorable one that I think I've got away with it. But I just tend to like stick to 3 or 4 colours that match each other opposed to doing something like this. So I was really pleased how this one turned out. Really pleased actually. And I'm hoping that this one turns out. I think this will turn out nice. They're different, aren't they? I think this is more of a more beautiful picture. If I bring it close to the camera, she's got like more details in her features. She's got the long, beautiful flowing hair, the slim waist, the big hips. You know, she's beautiful. She's beautiful. Where I think that one's more of a cutesy. It's a cutesy one, isn't it? Like with the big eyes and the silly expression. It's just a cute picture. So they are going to turn out different, but I love this one. I love this one, and I did just want to share it before the finished pages. I have shared it on Instagram already, but yeah, I enjoyed doing that one. I'm definitely going to do one of the others. So back to this one. So yeah, I swatched out all the colours last night. I'm really pleased with this palette. I have got another set of the Gansai Tambi paints, so I have used them before, you know, I'm not massively familiar with them, but I was reading like the description of this, and it says that you can use it as like a gouache as well as a watercolour, which I didn't know. That's me not, I never read the descriptions of anything. So I've just got an old, what is it this? I got this from a charity shop I think. It doesn't say what it's made out of, but it's brilliant for watercolour. And like I said, I've added on the background, so you've seen me do that, just really light wet on wet paint with this one, and I've let it dry. Oh, the paper. The paper is this, which I've not used in quite some time. I usually use the, gosh, what's it called? The Arches. Yeah, the Arches paper. But I had this right at the top of the pile, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. It's really, 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 really smooth. Really smooth. So I thought it would be nice to pop colour pencil over the top. So I'm going to try and do as much detail as I can with these paints, but then go in with the final touches with some sort of soft coloured pencil, I think, because the paper is so smooth. I think it'll work. I did think about putting like the silver or the gold ink in the background, but I thought better of it. I want to paint it first and maybe do some glitter. I've not done glitter, like full on glitter on a page, in a long time. I think what I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier, I know this is a really long intro, I do apologise. I'm going to take this off this board because I don't need it on the board now because the background's done with. But I can see that this is ripping the paper. I'm still on the hunt for a decent masking tape. Yeah, it's ripping all the paper there. But luckily you shouldn't be able to notice it. Pull it away from there. So just get a bit organised. So I'll give myself a lot more room not having this board on here. So I'll put you down there, and I can give you a closer look of the background. It's really simple, and I've just watered down this paint a lot to create this. It's not 100% dry, but I think it will do. So, what do I want to work on first? I think I'm going to work on the hat, because that's, to me, the biggest area. Get out of the way. And I've just noticed that, oh no, I hate it when this happens. This area here is part of the background, so I'm going to have to do that first. Luckily, it's nowhere near the hat, so that can be wet, and I can carry on working on that area. So I'll just quickly do that now. I need a finer brush, and all I did, I'm using clean water, clean brush. I'm using a smaller brush this time because the area's quite tiny. I'm just going over where I want the paint to be, just with clean water, just to start off with. It doesn't matter if it gets on the illustration a little bit because it's not really dark paint that I'm using. And the paint is already on my plate. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of water because I don't want it really, really dark. That should be enough. Just add this to the background and just fill in that area. Not all of it though, because as you'll see, it's like really random the way that I've done it. So I'll follow it around the wing. Maybe some in the hair there. And then clean my brush off. And then just go over that edge, just so it bleeds into nothing. See, that looks a lot better. So for her hat, I'm gonna have to switch to a bigger brush. I think that's a size 0, size 2 that actually, and this one is a size 6. Now in with this shade, which is called, I've just put it away, beige grey. Get a clean part of my palette, and I probably should have activated these colours before I started, but they're pretty quick actually to activate, to be fair. So I'm loading up my plate here just with as much paint as I think that I'll need. without getting any other colours mixed in there. My dropper. I'm going to add a few drops of water to that because I want to add just one plain what's the word? Layer. Just one plain layer, so I'm going to work in sections with this one. A bit worried that there's too much paint there on my brush. Let's do a little bit of a tester here first. Yeah, that should be okay because it will dry a lot lighter. I'm just going to fill in this whole area just to get started, and then while it's still wet add the details with the smaller brush. I didn't actually plan on doing this in all paint. I just wanted to do the background, but these paints are really nice and it just gave me the inspiration to do the rest of it. Why not? So I'm not going to clean my brush off because I'm going to be using it again with that same colour. But let me just check the palette again. I'm liking the look of this green grey, or do I like the shadow green? No, I'm going to go with the green grey. So I just want to activate that just to deepen it up. I should have done this beforehand. I'm just being very indecisive at the moment. So I've loaded that up. And then where she's already put the grayscale and the paint is still wet, I'm just going to start adding some of this colour and let it bleed out into that grey beige shade that I've already just put down. So you'll still see it peeking through. And that's part of the ribbon for a hat. So I won't go over that for now. It's going to be difficult trying to follow where the shadows are. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave it like this. Right, clean my brush off, take off any excess water just on a cloth. I want to go around these edges just to clean them up a little bit. More clean water. And the same thing on the opposite side. And I think that gives us a really, really good base for going in with pencil later on. Before that dries, I don't want any lines, so I'm going to go over all of that beige colour as well. And that's the sort of effect. It sort of looks just old and dirty, like weathered. So I think, but it's like laced underneath here, you see. I think we'll do the same thing, the exact same thing. So I'll load up this brush again. What colour was it? Beige grey. We'll do all this section. And I don't think I'm going to go with the traditional reds and oranges for the pumpkins on this one. Maybe more green ones. And then there's a beautiful, what colour is it? Mars yellow, which does look a little bit orange, but it's got more browns in it. I think I'll use that as well. While I'm at it, let's do all this as well. Why not? So in between the hair as well. I'm terrible for missing bits. And the exact same thing for this one. So you want to add that darker green shade where that grayscale is already put down for you. Just load up the brush again, some more water. It's really, really watered down, this. It is very much like gouache. I didn't realise. But yeah, add plenty of water and you won't have an issue. Now it is starting to bleed into that area. I'll get to that in a minute. So quickly get this on. It's like shadowing this actually, underneath. And I want to add a line there as well because I think it looks weird without it. So for the very top, there isn't actually any grayscale. So I'm just going to add a touch of colour and let it do what it's already doing there. And just bleed into that beige. And can you see here where it's already started drying? It's not bleeding into that area. So all you need to do is clean your brush off, get clean water, and then just go over the area again, and it'll do the exact same thing. That's why it is better to work in sections. So loading the brush up again. Just to deepen that up just a little bit. Just like that. To make it a little bit more, because I think that looks too perfect, I'm going to add just some random bits. Clean water. Load up my brush again. Don't want it leaking perfect, that's not the leak I'm going for, so make it very random. That's better. And the exact same thing for this. I'm going to have to do all this in one section, because even though that line comes halfway down, you've got this bit here. So I'll load my brush up again. I'm trying to be as quick as I can, but I obviously don't want to go out of the lines. The quicker you are, the wetter the paper will be when it comes to doing this bit. So you're adding your green now. You could do this with any colour scheme. Just put your lightest colour down first, and then your darker one where you want the shadows to be. And the same here. Put that together actually. And then this is all shadowed. Just like that, but it is super simple to do, and I think it is so effective. See how this top part now, how it's starting to dry? You know what that reminds me of? The Sorting Hat out of Harry Potter. That's the colour. And that wasn't I didn't do it on purpose. I'm going to deepen this up ever so slightly. I'm just noticing when this paint is drying on that plate, you can see the different colours that they've used to create this colour. It's interesting. Just going over certain areas. I don't like that line that I've just created. Let's tidy that up a bit. What should we do next? I want to stay away from the hat now. I do want to let that completely dry before I even attempt to do like the skin, the hair, the ribbon or anything like that. We've got this piece of fabric here. I think I might do that in the same colour scheme. I am going to do, because if you look at the pattern there, that matches the pattern that's here. So yeah, I'm going to stick with the same colour scheme for this as well. Oh, there's some as well at the top. See, almost missed that. And actually, this is really nice watercolour paper. So adding the green. Now there is literally no grayscale on this, so I'm going to have to improvise and add my own. I'm just going to use the lines as a reference, lines that are already here, and then it'll be darker underneath as well. Pull that down some more actually. And clean this up a little bit. I do need to load my palette up again, add a little bit more water. Just basically going over where I've just been, just making it a little bit darker. That should do. Yeah, I can't believe I almost missed out this whole section. So let's get all this filled in. Oops, the daisy. There's a little bit of background there I missed as well, so I'll have to come back and fill that in. Well, I suppose I don't have to, because I didn't colour the whole of the background. There is gaps where you can see the white still, so I suppose I could leave it. I get away as well, we're doing this one in sections because it's separate. So let's go into the green. Pull it up where the lines already are. Leave that for a minute while I work on the other side. Probably could have done with using a smaller brush for this area, but I'm nearly done with this colour. And work from the inside first because I want that darkest. And then add up to the lines. So while that one's drying, I'll make that one a little bit darker. Let's deepen this paint up ever so slightly. I'll come back and fix that in a minute. Just want to do the same thing with this. Finally clean my brush and get some clean water and just fix some of these edges that I don't like. Just like that, and I love that. I love that. So what should I work on next? So now that is all completely dry, look how cool that looks. It does really look like worn. I especially love this bit. That really does remind me of the Harry Potter hat. Now I'm going to risk it and use this palette for the skin. So this is a first. There's 3 colours that I've prepped in here. This one, and this one, which is, oh my god, ecru beige, flax beige in yellow brown. So I want a really watered down version of all these colours, and I think I'm probably better off switching to this size brush, which is in between the 2 brushes that I've just been using. Now, I've just been talking to my son about the importance of using, he's doing a project for college and he's attempting to do watercolour painting on a portrait on just a normal paper pad, and it's not going very good. So yeah, if you do try and do this technique, if you do it on paper that's not watercolour or a mixed media paper, you're probably not going to get the effects like these, especially not as easy as I managed them. So yeah, just a warning. I've just warned him again. So next time you want to do it, just borrow some paper and then stick it into your pad when you're done. So I want to pop all 3 of these colours down, show you what they look like. And this is the darkest one. What was this, yellow brown? Yellow brown. And then water them down with my little pipette. Put 2 drops of water in that darker shade. Clean off my brush. And then just get painted. There's no point worrying about it. If I mess it up, I'm sure I can fix it with pencils. I'm going to add another drop of water actually. I'm sure that'll be fine now. So the brush there is fully loaded, and I'm not using the wet on wet this time. I'm just going straight onto the paper, but I'll do the same thing and try and work in sections. So I'll do the face, the ears and the neck separate. Actually, I'm even going to go over the lips because I've got a really beautiful, what colour is it? Vermilion, that I might use for lips. Get all this filled in. If you do it, I hear any weird noises in the background. My dog is in here. So the next darkest shade, it's really not showing up much that on the camera, but I promise you it's there. Actually, while we're at it, I'm just going to get the vermilion going because I'm going to pop a little bit on her cheeks. Whoa, that was way too much. So wherever that grayscale is, I'm going to add this darker brown. Just try and be quick but not messy. And then in that darkest brown colour, which is the yellowed one, add a little bit of this. I'll always stop it, please. She decides to clean herself. The little rain, the little button nose. Underneath the nose, underneath the lips. If it goes on the lips, that's fine. And actually I want to add some here because I do think that there'd be shadows. Rollo. I do think that there'd be shadows underneath where the hat is. I'm going to blend this out now. Oops, and chuck my brush everywhere. Sort of clean water and just blend them edges. Just like that. And while it's still wet, a dab. Whoa, that is pigmented. Yeah, I don't need that much, just a tiny, tiny little bit. Put some there. This is going to look really, really weird where I'm putting it here, but I'm going to blend it out. And then some of the tip of her nose, and then we need the lips in these colours as well. Clean off my brush, blend that out. Yeah, it's subtle that, but it's there, you can see it. I'm going to deepen the lips up though, ever so slightly. Just with that same colour. That should be enough. And then do the exact same thing now with the neck and the arms, which I think I'll do the arms first. Move to the hands, and I can never do hands. So we'll do that one first and then go into the darker colour. Add it where the grayscale is already. Loaded the brush up a little bit too much, so the hand's a little bit messy there. Clean that up. And then in with that darkest brown. Just like that. Same thing with the other arm. I think I'll come back and do her nail polish in that vermilion colour as well. So the medium. And then just wipe off the brush and then go in with that darkest brown. See how it's pooling a bit there? I think I've added too much paint to that area, so lift some of that up, wipe it off. Yeah, the hands are a little bit messy than I would have liked, but I'm really not good at hands. I'm going to add a touch of that vermilion. I mean a touch. I'm going to pop a bit there. A little bit there, just so it sort of matches her face a little bit. take off any excess, clean the brush, and then clean some of these edges. Just like that. And then we've got the neck. The neck. Nearly forgot. We are -1 dog. Let's go with that lightest colour. And just fill in that neck. Yeah, there's a tiny bit in the background there that I will do now. And then go in with the medium brown. Take off any excess, and then in with that darkest. Add some of that vermilion as well, why not? I bet you that's not even going to show up on camera, but I promise you it's there. So that bit of background is only there, weren't it? Just going to add a touch of the green. Just fill that area in. So I think so far, you know, all the colours do go together. And looking at the colours in the palette here, so I've used the browns, the vermilion, we've used this greyish blue, a couple of different greens, the green grey, and yeah, these two colours. So I've used quite a bit. So I'm thinking next I'll either do the outfit that she's wearing in pink or purple, or whichever colour I don't choose, do the little guy, the little bat in that colour. And then yeah, we'll do that like greens and browns, the pumpkins, just to make a change, because I did the full on oranges the last time. I've just realised I've missed the legs. I've missed the legs. I should have done the legs.
This might answer your question.
Alexa.
The typical adult...
Stop. Why does it always go off at random times? Yeah, I'm going to have to do the legs. So let's mix a little bit more. Mix a little bit more colours. Actually, just take it out of the palette, because this palette is perfect now. I realise that for skin tone, especially on watercolour paper, it's really nice. So let's get these legs done. Can't believe I didn't do them. I'm going to do these together. Why not? Because they are so close to each other. So that very lightest shade. Seeing the frills on her outfit there, I'm leaning more towards like pink for the outfit. But is that going to be too many different shades? See, like I said, this is where I do have the problem with picking colours. I'm just taking you along on the journey of picking the colours out with me today. Sharing my thought process. Something with that darker brown. Oops, I just dipped in the wrong one, so we'll have to use that now, so I don't want to waste it. That's enough. The middle brown, that's the one I was after. And then the dark brown. Just clean up this edge. If you see my hand always constantly going up, that's why I'm keeping our water. I'm constantly dipping in, making sure my brush is clean. Now back in with the vermilion. Just want to add a touch of this. And blend it out. Right, so we're done with the legs. So I'll come back when I've decided what I'm going to do about colours for the outfit. I'm thinking as well she's going to have a... what colour is that? Viridian red? That's what it is. I think I'm going to do that. It's like a burgundy shade for her hair. The weather today is quite possibly one of the worst days we've had this year for rain. So, yeah. My chair's being extra creaky today, so I've brought you down at a different angle and I'll bring you in a little bit closer when I start doing the painting work. But it's currently the next day and this is how it's dried. And I had it up actually on my wall. I was just looking at it last night. I love how it's turning out. I love how it's turning out. I think it's so easy to achieve a really quick, I don't want to say, well, it is quick, but finished piece because of the grayscale. I mean, you don't have to go over any of her skin there with pencil. I think I am going to do, just to add a couple of details. But yeah, I'm really pleased how this is turning out so far, and I'm really liking this paper. I don't think I've got much of it left. I will just show you again in case you're interested. The Canston 300 GSM, and it's really smooth as well. It's hot pressed, and I would have got this off Amazon. I'm telling a lie if I say I remember, but I get 95% of the art things off Amazon or my local art store in Manchester, and I know that I didn't buy that from there, so it must have been from Amazon. So I thought I'd do this angle to mix some colours, because obviously it is the day after and I'll use a different palette as well. So I've got all the brushes that I was using last night, got my paints, got my little pipette. Now I think I want to work on the outfit. I nearly said her then. So I want to activate some of the colours that I think that I might use. I might not end up using these, because I'm wondering whether I should go with the greens for a dress now that I've slept on it and I'm looking at it again. You know what, I might as well just activate them all in case I change my mind. But so far I'm really enjoying these paints. And my minus one dog this morning, she's happily sitting on the weighted blanket in my bedroom, so no snoring noises hopefully. Yeah, I'm really leaning towards a green outfit to just go with the green background. I think I'm going to do it, and then I'll do her that burgundy colour like I mentioned, and then maybe the little guy here, either the blue shades or pop a little bit of purple into there. But I've still got the pumpkins to worry about as well, and I wanted them to be green, didn't I? So there's going to be a lot of green. Actually, let's do the pumpkins first and get them out of the way, because I know that I do want them to be a green colour. So let's pop some colours into this palette. My cloth. I'll pop all three greens in, I think. And then maybe that turquoise shade. I don't need loads. I have a terrible habit of putting too much paint into a palette thinking that I'm going to use it, and then it just gets wasted. So I'll try and be mindful. And I am going to water this guy in as well. So that darker green. Just like that. And then maybe we'll go with this. I haven't got the names. The palette is actually in the packaging, so I can't tell you the names. But I really do recommend this palette. And it weren't overly expensive either. And for the amount of paint that you get, and you can use it as gouache or watercolour, I think it's such a good price. I think it was like 20 something. So I'm hoping that there's going to be enough there. And then I need my pipette again. Oh, I'm spilling water all over my page already. No! Dab that up. I put some hand tattoos on yesterday, they didn't show up in that video. And then this morning I've woken up and then I've got a dodgy one here. That one's not too bad because I'm thinking about getting a couple of hand tattoos. So I just got the stick-on ones, like the adhesive ones, just to see how I feel before I do it, because I am seriously thinking about it. But I know really detailed ones, I know it's off topic, but really detailed ones like this, they won't stay like that for long, they'll blur out. So maybe not. Maybe just like a moon or something. Yeah, I don't know. Right, so colours are mixed. I'm going to add a little bit of that vermilion. Why can't I say that word? Vermilion. Because I know that I'll need that as well later on if I don't use it now. But I just want to have all the paints sorted and ready to go. Now, this is another one. I was talking about it in the last video about how expensive this PDF was. But in hindsight and thinking about it, I think if you really enjoy a page, and it is going to take you hours to complete, which I'm not too sure at this point what we're up to, I'm guessing about half an hour. So it'll probably take me a couple of hours altogether to finish. I think it is probably worth it, so I'm going to go back on what I said, because I'd rather buy 1, 2, 3 PDFs that I really love and I know that I'm going to colour, and I will colour this again. I've already printed it out on tone tan paper, so yeah, I think I'm going to go back on what I said. And yeah, I do really like it. I wish this was her more reoccurring style, opposed to like the line art. I just prefer this now. I think my style and whatnot has changed. Right, so the pumpkins. So I do a thin layer of this. Again, I don't know the names because the names are covered up, but it's just like a lime green shade. And I think I want to do this on both of them as well. Now if you hear tapping, you're currently propped up on a plant pot and my plastic container that I keep moss in that's currently empty. Oh, we've got a ribbon to do as well. With, should we do vermilion on the ribbon, or will that stand out too much? I'm not sure. Right, so I want a little bit of the lime green. The camera's at a weird angle, I can't actually see what I'm filming. Just pop this here and there. You see how it's giving like the cauliflower effect? Look at that, how cool is that? I love when this happens. And you can only really get away with, I mean you can do this on normal paper, but it doesn't look as cool as on watercolour paper. And it won't do it as much here because it's already starting to dry. So I'm going to skip that darkest one for now and then go into the blue. Just add some here and there and just see what it does, and it will dry a little bit lighter, then I'll go in with finer details once it's dried a little bit more. So I love the way that this one looks, but I think I've added a little bit too much with the dark shades, so I'm going to pull some of that up just with the clean brush and just take off the excess. So I do need to wait for that to dry now. So while that's drying, I'm going to be boring and go with the same sort of colour scheme as well for her outfit. I'm hoping that, there we go. So we can do this in sections as well. So she's got a cloak. Let's fully load this brush. There we go. Just be mindful of the hands. And then in with the darker green. And then where she's already put the grayscale, that might be a little bit too much, but I'll be able to pull the colour up in a minute. Just get that initial colour down. Let's clean my brush off and let's tidy this up a bit. It's actually the perfect day today, like an autumn walk in the woods. So if I've got time, I've got a big list of things I need to do today, so if I've got time, I might go for a walk, even if it's just on my own. So I'll do the same thing with that, completely let it dry. So let's do her, I think the ribbon is attached to this cloak. Whoops, I got a bit on her skin, don't do that. Oh, it's here as well, this is part of it. So there's a little bit too much paint there on my brush. Take off the excess and just work with whatever's on the paper. And then it goes down here as well, actually. Let's go into this green shade. I think that is a separate piece of clothing there. So let's go in with the vermilion. Add a little bit of colour. Not on her skin. Is there a nice mustard shade? Oh, there is actually, because I could use that for the belt. I think that paint needs a little bit more water, that's why I'm struggling with it. And I'm just going to go all out and use this vermilion, why not? I think the only thing I have to worry about is the crystals. So just be careful of them. Yeah, that's a lot more pigmented than this because I've added that water. I'm trying to be quick, but still being careful to stay in the lines as best as I can. I say that and then I just go out the lines. I jinx myself. Definitely needs more water. It's really pigmented that bit compared to the rest. Just slightly go over that because I just want to make sure that it's matching. Now, while that's drying, I can go back to the cloak. Let's go in with this darker, it's like a navy blue almost, let's add a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I didn't like that angle. Right. So now that the paint's starting to dry in the palette, it's a lot more pigmented, and this area as well is more or less dry. So I'll be able to get a couple of finer details, unless ribbon's a little bit wet. You see like that, like if that paper was still wet, that would just bleed everywhere. And I was using clean water. I just want to tidy up some of these edges. Just like that. And the vermilion, they have got a really beautiful, it's like a golden. Oh, I just got paint all over the plant. No! Deborah. Well, you're a Halloween plant, Nige. Dip my finger in water. Rescue with the plant. Rescue with the plant. That'll teach me for putting it so close. Well, that's not too bad. It's got it out mostly. Just me. Anyway, I was saying, and I've got it all over my desk as well. Oh my god, it is all over my desk. So this shade, let's pop it there. It's really, really, really pigmented. Just a couple of drops and see how I get on with that. Again, I try my best not to waste paint as best as I can now. I know that this is not going to be fully dry. Let's take off some of that excess. Is this even going to show up? Yeah. So just go over where she's already put that grayscale. Actually, I'm going to add a couple of shaded spots that I think would be shaded. Clean water. I think all around the bottom actually. And then blend that out. And then I think I'll do it underneath the belt as well. I can see that plant looking at me now, shouting at me, saying I wasn't a ginger. Because I completely made it a ginger plant. Right. So now I'll have to leave that to dry. It is a little bit, I don't want to say tedious, but when you're doing watercolour you have to be a little bit patient, waiting for different areas to dry. So now the pumpkins have dried. And I do like the smaller one. I'm not too happy with these lines. So I'm going to go over the whole thing again. Basically do the same thing until I'm happy. I can blend some of these edges out. See? And there's a little bit at the top there as well that I'm not too pleased about. So with the darker navy colour, actually let's just pop a little bit down. Yes, that's too much, but I'll be able to fix it in a minute. Get that colour down, clean my brush off. And I am going to pop some of the orange shades in here as well. I don't want them just to be the greens. That reminds me of House of the Dragon. Greens and the reds, the greens and the blacks. The greens and the reds. Just a touch here and there. So too much, easy peasy. All you need to do is go over and let your paintbrush pick it up, clean it, clean water, just to get rid of any harsh lines that you don't like. I'm going to pop a little bit of that orange shade on as well. So for the leaves, I just picked up that darker green colour, and then I picked up the darker blue rather, and I'm going to pick up the darker green. Maybe pop a little bit of the orange in there as well. Then use this for the leaves. Let's test it on one. Yeah, that should be fine. But instead of doing the whole leaf in that colour, I'm going to do the tip and then use a clean brush with an E9 going past. I'm nowhere near the main road as well, but you can still hear it. And then just blend that down. Just so it like what's the word? Gradient. Same thing, go around the edges. Like that. Was that a candle? I thought it was a candle. It's not, it's the stalk. Whoops. While my brush is fully loaded, I'm going to do a few. Go with my clean brush. I don't think there's any more leaves on the page. I know that they look a bit like, oh, they're hiding in the background, but I'm going to go over with colour pencil, don't you worry. So I do want to add just a touch of colour into her eye, and I've spotted this mustard shade. It's just this one. So I'll add a tiny bit more water. And I'll pop this into her eyes. And I'm going to actually make the little black match. I'm not too sure about that orange now. I think I want to pop a little bit of green over the top to, you know, like I did with this. I started off with the cream and then I added the green to do the shading. I think that's what I'm going to do with her outfit, because I really don't think it goes. So we started to get a little mark up here as well again. It's the same thing, I'm just going to blend it out. There's a little one at the bottom as well. That is the plus of the watercolour, you can just keep doing it until you're happy. Now, that's more or less dry, so let's switch back round. I want to make this a tiny bit more pigmented. I'll start off at the bottom. I'm going to do this at all of the bottom area. And we'll do this section first. Then bring it up ever so slightly. Clean my brush off. And then go around that edge just to clean it up a little bit. And the same thing. Just being careful, I don't want to leave any lines like I did on pumpkin. Hold it back up again, and go straight underneath the belt, and around the edges as well. Make this a little bit darker. Clean brush again, just to go over them edges. Now I think that looks a million times better. I'm going to add a tiny bit. Is this my smallest brush that I've got out? I'm going to get an even smaller brush, size 0. Load it up again. Put this very, very centre bit. Now the trouble is with a smaller brush, it does not hold a lot of water, so you do have to keep constantly dabbing it in. Now before I mess with that any longer, I'm going to let that part dry and see how I feel. I'm going to stick with this smaller brush and do some of these areas. Now I'm questioning myself about the belt. I think I still want to put that yellow down. I'll use the same yellow as what I did with the eyes, but then I'll add shadows with maybe this green actually. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I've already got some of that yellow all ready to go. So I'm going to go over the whole thing actually while I'm at it. Oops, too much, too much. Take a step back for a minute and have a look. Right, so we've got the stalks as well to contend with, and I think they're going to be straight up this dark navy shade. I'm sticking with that smaller brush because I can get into the details a lot easier. Same thing with this little guy. Right, while that's still wet, I'm going to directly go into the paint in the actual palette, take off any excess and deepen some of the areas. You can see the difference. That one's nearly dry even though I've only just done it. This one that's still wet, you can see the difference. I'll be able to blend it out. Like the ribbon as well, the ribbon. I'm gonna go in with that orange shade. That orange shade, I think. And then if I'm not too happy with it, I can go over the top of it. Actually, there's some green already in the centre, so I'm just going to mix this together and see what colour I get. Add a couple of drops of water. I feel like this is going to be like really grungy looking, where when I do this illustration again I could always do the total opposite and go for really bright colours. So, it wasn't a bad choice actually. I think sometimes, because I do it myself, like when I'm adding shadows and stuff I automatically go for black, but I've tried to stop doing that, like using different colours as the shadows, and I think it works like perfectly on this sort of illustration. So now that's still wet, I dip into this brown shade. That's very similar to the shade that I've literally just made. And add it to the very bottom and let it bleed up. I let it do its own thing, I'm just guiding it to where I want it to be. Add some more. Just tap in the paper and then letting the paint fall on and do its own thing. I'm really not moving it this time, just let it do what it wants to do. Just take that little bit up at the end. See? We need to, I'm just going to do a whole base over the hair and then go over with colour pencil, I think. So for the hair, I'm going to go into this shade, this like turquoise shade. Let me pull that there. Terrible for doing that. Add plenty of water. And what about if I add just a little bit of this lime green? I say a little bit and I've just took loads up, so I don't need that much. Just to lighten it up a bit, but because I've added more paint it's going to make it more pigmented. So yeah, I'm going to end up with a lot of paint here. I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper to just test that I like that colour before I go ahead and put it on the hair. So pad at the ready. I've actually got a watercolour pad that I just use for like this sort of thing if I'm not 100% sure about a colour. It's just a cheaper one that I got free with the watercolour set, I think. So that's the colour. I think that should be okay after I've added the pencils over the top. I think that should be okay. So I'm just going to block colour all this, and I need to decide on the back. And then I think after that I'll be able to move over to the pencil work. Now I have got a lot of paint on my brush here, but I'm doing a large section, so it should be alright. Again, I'm trying to be as neat as possible, but as quick as possible. Especially around her face. I literally jinx it every time. And we need a little bit of this colour as well on her eyebrows, which I'll do after I've done this side. Actually, that hair colour works beautifully. Nearly dipped into that dry acrylic paint then. Oh no! There we go. See? I jinxed it. I could add a couple of shadows and stuff with the paint for the hair, but I think I'm quite fancying just doing it in pencil. I don't know, I'll decide. Nearly there. And there's a little bit there that I missed. I'm just going to see how much paint I've got left. Oh, my camera is blinking at me. Crisis averted. I've changed the angle for you. Now, obviously I've not finished this yet, but this is nearly dry and I don't like that line. I really don't like that line. So, just clean water. And trying my best to blend this out. It shouldn't be too bad. I'll have to go over more or less the whole area, otherwise I'll just get lines again. But that's a lot better already. And then we've got the same problem here. So same thing, and then go over the rest to hopefully not get any more lines. Now for our eyebrows, I use this size 2 brush. And just carefully fill it in. Oh, she's got some lovely eyebrows. Like that. I'm going to stick with the same brush, might as well while I've got it in my hand. Then continue with the hair. I think that was a good choice, the colour in the hair. I think that goes really nicely. And even if I didn't like it, you can go over it. I need to sort this little guy out as well. I'm really not sure what I should do colour wise with him or her. I'm thinking that blue colour. And if I mix a little bit more of the lighter blue in with it, that might work. So the hair is done. Done with paint anyway for now. So let's get a colour mixed for this little guy. So yeah, I've got a lot of paint left there, which is really annoying. I didn't want that to happen. So we'll go in with the blue. Try my best not to mix too much this time. And this darker blue. Is that just going to completely overtake it? Yes, it is. So we'll go in with this even little lighter blue. Can't even see it. Let's do a little test. Let's add a touch of purple. It's going to make it more grey, this, isn't it? Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, I think that blue is too close to her hair. So I quite like that one. We'll go over him now. He's a little cutie, isn't he? Just be careful of his little teeth. I do want to keep them clear. Yeah, I think that works. And I'm going to add some greens, that darker green, to do a bit of shading as well, I think. And then his wing. Oh, we've got the wand as well. I think the wand I might do the same colour as the ribbon on her hat. So while that is still wet, get a little bit of this darker green shade. It's like a greeny. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll blend certain areas out in a minute. Like this bit. Let's get a touch on his hair as well. Just a little bit. Just like that, and then we've just got that one to do now, and then I will let this completely dry before I put any pencil on top. I'm just thinking about that wand. I'm going to go in with that vermilion. It might stick out like a sore thumb, this, and if it does, I'll just go over it with some of the greens just to darken it a little bit. I'll take some of this colour up. I don't want it to be that dark. Yeah, I do think that sticks out a little bit too much. So, with that navy blue again, or green, I don't know what colour you call this. I just want it to dry a little bit more than it is. Be really careful with the fingers. And the nail polish I'll have to worry about with the pencils. Skip to my smallest brush, just clean water. Want to blend out some of them edges. Still not happy with that though. That line. So that's where I'm up to so far. All the paint work is all done. Now this is where I'm going to have to be a little bit patient. I've just realised as well, I've just spilled, I don't know whether it was now or last night, tiny little bit of water there. But yeah, that's how she's coming along. I'm not too sure what pencils that I'm going to use yet, but I want to leave this to dry and come back in a little bit. And we are back, and I've chosen to go with the Artex pencils for this one. I was using these last night, so I thought I'd carry on because I really like these. Now, oh, I've not got a swatching book. I've not got a swatching book. This is Colour with Claire's colouring log, and yeah, I did start and I didn't stick to it. Just like everything else when it comes to me colouring, I just go with the flow. I have got swatch charts for all of my pencils, but I'm just going to do this because it's easier. Just use the back of this. Now, I want it to somewhat match the hair colour, so if I just keep that there. Do a couple of, no, that's too light. Right, so that can be one of the colours. I'm liking the look of this as well. No, too green. It's funny how they look in the pencil form. I mean, the barrels don't match as well. Right, so these two colours will be fine. don't want to do too much pencil work because that wasn't the point of this. I mean, I could leave it like that, to be honest with you, but move that out of the way. Sharpen the pencils and bring it down. So I think the plan is I'll do a couple of sections on camera and then I'll do the rest off camera just to save on a little bit of time, because it will be the same thing over and over again. I didn't tell you the colours, did I? This one's emerald, and then we've got dark teal. Oops, is my table slanted? Everything's falling. And I want a lot of that paint colour to show through, so I'm not going to go over the top with the pencil. Just a little bit. Really short strokes. Do this bit up here. I'm going with the direction of the hair. You don't want to colour it like this. You want to go with the direction of the way that the hair is going. I really like this paper, really like it, I'm a fan. And then in with the dark teal. Just to deepen it up a little bit. I'm constantly turning the pencil as well, just to keep it as sharp as possible. And then I might as well do the eyebrows as well while I'm here. Short strokes, and I'm not going to take it to the end. And then with the darker colour, that's basically all I'm going to do throughout the hair. And that is basically it. So I'll do that for the whole hair section and then come back to do the rest. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. So I need to find, I think that colour should do. Let me just test it. I don't want to be adding loads of different colours now. I just want to do shading with a couple of pencils. That should be okay. Let's give this a sharpen. And I do need the black as well. The black is just for the eyes, do the eyelashes and whatnot. But just with this pencil, just want to deepen some areas up. Like the pumpkins, I'm not even going to mess with because I like how they look. Maybe like do a few lines here and there, but nothing too much. Same with this area, we'll deepen that up. Just really light pressure. It's probably barely even noticeable, just a little something. And the same underneath the hat. Because that grayscale is already there, you know, you don't have to add loads and loads. Yeah, for the pumpkins I think. Just go down these lines a little bit, not all the way. And pull it up slightly. Just to define them a little bit more. So I don't know what that's meant to be actually. We'll go in between the back wings. I'm so glad I ended up using that different colour over the top of that. I don't think it would have looked right. The skin, I'm really happy with the skin. I'm just like, do I really want to mess with that? Underneath here there's some shadows. Just like that. Hello outfit. What do I want to do about the frills? I don't want to be using any gel pen. This mustard colour shade might be alright actually. And I'll go over the top with the green. Don't have to be too particular with these. Just get rid of the white of that paper. And then I've just spotted a good colour to deepen up the belt up a bit. I suppose I could use a little bit of this actually as well. Just around the very top where it meets the outfit. And then back in with that green colour. Which one is this? Fern green. Sharpen my pencil. I want to add some of this into the eyes as well. So a little bit on the belt. Just creating them shadows. This is a really good colour for this sort of thing. Oh, I've never thought. I do want to add a little bit of eye makeup, so I'll come back to that while I've still got this green colour out. This part as well. I've already done this though, haven't I? Right. And then for the eyes, I want to make sure that this is quite sharp. I'm not going to add any glitter or anything to this page. I'm honestly really happy with how it's turned out. I don't think the glitter would really go with the rest of it. So just follow where the eyelashes already were, just defining them a little bit more. Oh, I need to deepen his eyes up, don't I? Use that same colour I did for the belt. And I do need my white acrylic paint pen for the eyes. Just realised I put that black down when I wanted to put a little bit of eye makeup on. So I'll use burnt umber. Put a little bit of this on the nose actually. Just a little bit. You see, if I bring it closer, I really don't think it needs loads of messing with the skin. So this is an acrylic paint marker. Just adding some of them whites back into the eyes. And then the very last thing to do, I think, is doing a nail polish. And then this page is done. So her nail polish, I'm just going to stick and be really careful because I don't want to rag an eye, and just go with the green. And this one is lime peel. And there, I'm calling that finished. Really, really, really happy with that. Oh, one more thing. And you see these little spots on the pumpkin? I'm just going to go over just a couple of them. Just to make them stand out a little bit more. Right, now I'm done. So I hope that you enjoyed watching me paint and colour this illustration. Again, it's by Mystic Art Mirrors, and I'm just going to request that I hope that she does more illustrations like this in the future because I really enjoyed it. Come on, camera. There we go, you can see the whole thing now. But I think it turned out absolutely beautiful, and I hope that you like it too. Please do leave this video a big thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.